Hey guys, this is Sean Kanan, and you are listening to the Then Is Now podcast.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
What kind of a sick school is this?
Uh-oh, don't go!
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
You got spunk. I hate spunk.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Oh, righty.
How you doing?
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Say hello to my little friend!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
What are you people? On dope?
Stop whining.
I got a crap on deck that can choke a donkey.
Who is your daddy?
I'm sorry, but all questions must be submitted in writing.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Can I do that?
I'll be back.
A dynamite! Show me the money!
Don't!
Up your nose with your rubber hose.
A what? I'm sailing! I'm sailing!
Groovy.
You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
Here's looking at you, kid.
We got no food, we got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off!
Come to the coast and get together, have a few laughs.
Hear that, Elizabeth? I'm coming to join you, honey!
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
I love it when a plan comes together.
What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
We're on a mission from God.
Hello and welcome to another special mini episode of Then Is Now podcast. I am your host Re-Gor, and today I'm going solo to talk to a special guest that we've had on the show before, and he's going to tell us about the upcoming Chock A Go-Go Film Festival at the Art Theater in Long Beach, California. So sit back and get ready for a fun discussion. Class is in session.
I have a bad feeling about this.
How could I possibly be expected to handle school on a day like this?
Food fight!
Hey, you in my class? I am today.
I think you should consider transferring to shop class. Woo-woo! Now, very few students are severely injured in shop class.
Bueller.
When you were in school,
Bueller.
did you ever cut class?
Bueller. Yeah, I guess I did. Sure, most kids cut classes.
Good, sign this. He's sick.
I get so lonely when I hear that third attendance bell ring and all my kids are not here.
7 years of college down the drain.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
You lack discipline.
As long as I'm here, there will be no grades or gold stars or demerits. We're gonna have recess all the time. Woo! Go, play and have fun now!
Okay, folks, today on the show we have a returning guest who was with us a little over a year ago on episode 39, in which we discussed his documentary series, Exploit This. Well, he's back, and he's going to tell us about the special Chock A Go-Go Film Festival that he's got coming up on April 22nd of 2022, as well as an update on Exploit This. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, Mr. Eric Eichelberger.
Thanks for having me here, man.
Awesome. Yeah, no, glad to have you. I pronounced your name correctly, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So glad to have you back. So before we get into Chock A Go-Go, do you want to give us a quick update on the status of Exploit This?
Yeah. So basically what we've got now is like a 5.5 hour talking heads cut. I got an editor since we last spoke, Tyler, and Tyler was the editor on the movie Scream Queen, which was nominated for a Chainsaw Award through Fangoria. Really, really, really cool film about Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Nice.
And so him and I have been working together for close to a year. And yeah, we've sort of managed to, what started out as, thousands of hours, we've gotten down to about 4.5. So we're working on getting the cut down to like 2.5 so that we can really kind of layer it with B-roll and start to develop the style of the film more and do some things like that, and not just dealing with like what is basically like a radio cut at this point.
Right.
I also have been filming a few new select interviews. I filmed an interview with Kitten Natividad on Sunday, who was an actress in Russ Meyer's films. And because we started the documentary after Russ was passed away, I wanted to get a few people that worked with Russ Meyer since he's a major person in the documentary. And so we started with Kitten, and she was in a 12-year relationship with Russ. So that was actually really interesting to hear about. She also was in the film Up, and she was in the film Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. And so she had a lot to say about Russ. And also she talked a little bit about her own career, which was a lot in adult movies. Adult movies in the 70s, which is
right.
different than now.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was really gracious and a great interview. We filmed about 75 minutes with her, and we're looking to film with a couple more people that are Russ related. One guy's name is Harrison Page, and he was in the movie Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Okay.
He's also African American. We don't have a lot of diverse, we don't have enough, let's say, diverse voices in the film, so we're trying to explore that. And then get some stories, on the set of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, such an iconic film that Russ did, probably one of his most iconic films. And then Erica Gavin, who was in Vixen, and that is also a really iconic Russ film. We're trying to get an interview with her. Nice. Also, there's a guy named John Lazar who I've approached. He's a little bit tricky to work with. He's the guy that played the Z-Man in Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Oh, okay.
So we're still reaching out to people. I still have a New York trip planned where I'm going to interview some people out there, including Lloyd Kaufman, Larry Fessenden, and a few other New Yorkers. Oh, Peggy Sarno, was the wife of Joe Sarno.
Okay.
Who's a major person in the documentary. So yeah, we're still filming some more as well.
When you were on the show last, you talked about the potential of, because you had so much footage and so many interviews, of it being maybe turned into a series. Is that still an option, or are you just going with a straight documentary?
I think that's an option. I think that a lot of documentaries start out as a doc and then, move into a series. And for us, doing something that's kind of like the history of horror, but like with exploitation specifically, right, would be really interesting. So if there's somebody listening, and they wanted to reach out to me through anxietyfilms.com or anxietyfilms.org, anxietyfilmsproductions.com, they could, we're open to that idea for sure.
Excellent. So you've still got a ways to go then. There's no real, you don't really have a target date in sight just yet?
We don't have a release date yet, no. We've still got some sort of open questions in terms of the creative process. And so I don't think that we're quite at that stage, but I do think we're going to have a sort of rough cut of the film by summer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And it's funny because there's so many aspects to it. I mean, you mentioned having diverse people on. I mean, you could do a whole series on blaxploitation films alone.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Well, good for you, man. And we will keep the audience updated as to the progress. And hopefully when it's out, we will be able to let everyone know. And we'll go from there. So, all right. Why don't you tell our listeners your new venture here that's going on, Shock-A-Go-Go. What is that and what's it all about?
Okay, so Shock-A-Go-Go isn't actually new, but it's new again. We did the Shock-A-Go-Go Film Festival from the years 2001 to 2004.
Oh,
and
wow.
At that time, which was also a really good time, a similar time for independent cinema that we're experiencing right now. there was a lot going on. It was kind of easier in some ways because there was a lot of empty theaters downtown, and downtown was experiencing barely a revitalization. And so we got in on that with a place downtown called the Palace Theater, and the woman that ran the Palace and was doing events there let me do a 24-hour horror, science fiction, cult movie, exploitation festival. And that was kind of an interesting one because we also had bands, we also had live performances, we also had magic, we also had performance art. We had a lot, and it was kind of wild and untamed. But during that time, we had a lot of cool guests. We had Stuart Gordon, who's now passed away, but did the movie Reanimator and Dagon. We showed the movie Dagon, which was new at the time. We had Richard Elfman, the brother of Danny Elfman, who was in Oingo Boingo and also did the movie Forbidden Zone, and we showed the movie Forbidden Zone. We had Mary Warnoff, and we showed the movie Rock and Roll High School, and we had her speak. And it was actually Joe Dante's print of the movie Rock and Roll High School.
Wow.
We showed Bloodsucking Freaks, and we had Joel Reed, who's the director of Bloodsucking Freaks, and Troma was a sponsor for us. We had Dave Friedman. We showed his movie She Freak.
Okay.
Dave Friedman was the producer of Blood Feast and 2000 Maniacs and Color Me Blood Red with Herschel Gordon Lewis. He was Herschel Gordon Lewis's partner. He was really, really, really fun to have. We had Roger Corman. We showed his movie The Raven, and we also showed we showed Death Race 2000, which he was the producer on, and he talked about both films. And the director of The Raven. He talked about basically, how to make an exploitation film and how he got involved in the business and how he, grew to be such a successful producer. So we had a lot of guests over those 4 years. We had Ted Michaels.
Oh, wow.
Ted Michaels, who did the Astro Zombies and the Corpse Grinders.
Yeah.
And so through doing that festival, I actually met a lot of the people that I then went on to film interviews for Exploit This. So the two are pretty intricately tied. And when I started kind of resurrecting Exploit This and did the Kickstarter and got the money to finish the film and got an editor and all that stuff, it kind of put a fire under my ass to bring back the film festival. And so I partnered with a guy named Ben, and him and I are doing the festival together. And Ben's been kind of handling the business side, and I've been kind of handling the promotion side. So we agreed on some films to show. We're going to definitely show this movie, The Greasy Strangler. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a newer cult movie.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I hadn't heard of it, actually.
Yeah, it's a hilarious film. It's super funny. The director's name is Jim something, and he went on to do a Netflix movie. You could look him up. He's really super cool. And then the guy who actually I approached initially, Sky Helabar, has been helping me promote it and promote the festival. And he's got a ton of people that were on the cast of the movie that are coming out to do a Q&A. So we're going to show that one at midnight and have a bunch of the stars of the movie there, and they're going to do a Q&A and also a signing. They're going to have merch, stuff like that. That'll be fun. And then we're also showing Blood Diner. And Blood Diner, we've got the director, Jackie Kong.
That's awesome.
And Jackie Kong is, it's sort of an early woman horror director, which is really cool.
Yeah, I remember when that came out on video.
Yeah, it was a big video store movie for sure. It was a movie that, and it's kind of a takeoff of the movie Blood Feast, which is sort of a pivotal movie in the Exploit This documentary. So it's an interesting film in its own right, but it kind of borrows some stuff from Blood Feast in a fun way. Carl Crew, who runs the CIA, the California Institute of Abnormal Arts, he was an actor in that movie. I don't know, it's got a great cast. But yeah, we got Jackie Kong, and she is willing to talk about the movie and do a Q&A and a signing as well. And
Excellent.
she's a really cool, woman filmmaker when there weren't a lot of women filmmakers. Still not enough, but I'm saying at that time there were very, very few.
Right.
And especially in horror. And so that's really cool that we've got her coming. And then we're also showing Slumber Party Massacre. We've got two of the stars, Bring Stevens and Deborah DeLiso. They're going to do a Q&A and talk about the film. And they've also kind of haven't seen each other for a long time. So it's a really fun thing for them.
That's great.
And it'll be really fun to have them, talk about that iconic horror movie and how it came together and sort of making of. And that's also directed, just sort of coincidentally directed by a woman. We wanted to get her. Her name's Amy. We wanted to get her, but she's directing a television show, I think in Australia or somewhere.
Oh wow!
So she couldn't make it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really cool program. We've also got a bunch of independent horror shorts that we're showing in the shorts program that opens up the festival. We've got tables with merchandise and people selling cool horror and exploitation stuff. And also we've got the signings and the Q&As. And then the night before, on Thursday, April 21st, we're having a little pre-film festival opening night party where we're showing some more horror shorts and an independent feature. And that is at the Four Horsemen in Long Beach as well. And that's like a horror pizza place / art gallery / bar. So you can come and drink, you can eat pizza, you can watch short films that are horror and exploitation, cult type movies, and then there'll be a feature that night to open up the festival that's a surprise right now.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask. And aren't you, before the actual festival on the 22nd, you're going to start off with a short film program as well?
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of horror shorts and exploitation cult movie type shorts opening up the festival at 5. So the festival will start at 5. From 5 to 7, we've got that shorts program. Then we're going to show Slumber Party Massacre. And then we're going to show Blood Diner. And then at midnight, we're going to show The Greasy Strangler. And it'll go till 2 a.m., maybe a little later. And that's the program.
Awesome. Can I ask, I'm a huge horror fan. I've been my whole life, but I'm not super familiar with short horror films. Can you at least tell us about a couple of them that you're going to show?
Yeah, that is a good question. That is a good question. Let me look, because there's a bunch of films and filmmakers, and I don't want to get the names and everything wrong.
Yeah.
Give me a second, and I'll
Sure.
bring that up, and I can tell you exactly what we're showing. Although we don't have the program entirely for the opening night party, but we do have the program of shorts. So we're starting out with a movie called As Good as Dead by Dave Rita. And then we're showing Straight Shooter by Michael Roberts. Mr. Vokey, A Tale of Monsters by O.J. Whip Lord, that was actually one of my favorites, by David Kepner. My Friends, the Plants by Christine Solozzi. One Hit Wonder by Amanda Dow. Dent by Fred Decker, who is actually a well-known horror director.
Oh, yeah.
That we're showing. Monster in a Box by Noah Weasel. Angry Alice by Maura Cotter. Baby Steps by Carlos Vazquez. The Woman Who Came from the Sea by Kelly Keeley. Hold Your Breath by Jeremy Shipp. Plastic Beach by Dan Schulman Means. Reboot by Anthony. And Tinder Tango, Cecilia Robles. So those are the movies. Then there'll be more shorts as well at the opening night party in the art gallery space, and one independent feature. So these shorts, we've got just for the listeners or people who might be horror filmmakers or exploitation filmmakers or cult movie type filmmakers, science fiction filmmakers, or even animation filmmakers in that sort of genre. We've got a really cool page on filmfreeway.com. So you go to filmfreeway.com and you put in Shock a Go-Go, and we accept submissions, and it's like rolling submissions because we're doing 2 festivals a year. We're planning to do 2 festivals a year, so we are always taking submissions on
Awesome.
Film Freeway, and some of these horror shorts were submitted to us through Film Freeway.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So, are all of the you mentioned Fred Decker did one. So, do they sort of run the gamut of the decades, or are they predominantly newer shorts?
He did. That's a new film.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's a brand new film that Fred Decker did. No, Ben knows him, so that's how we got that film. Most of it got through Film Freeway, the shorts. But yeah, Ben, my partner, knows him, so he introduced me, and then we got that film.
Excellent. So do some of them run back a few decades, or?
No, most of them are brand new. The vast majority of the short films and the feature that will show, the surprise feature at the opening night party, are all brand new, not ever been released films.
Excellent.
Some of them not even been shown. And a bunch
amazing.
of filmmakers have been promoting the festival, and they're coming out, and they've got friends that are coming and stuff like that. A lot of them are local.
That's great. And how did you come up with this program of Slumber Party Massacre, Blood Diner, and Greasy Strangler? Was it difficult to choose them, or did you choose them for a specific reason?
Ben had a festival, I think, in Indianapolis, and he knew Jackie Kong and knew that she had a print. So that kind of felt like easy for us to do for the first one, because we're trying to kind of build a brand here, and we're kind of resurrecting from the dead, since we did it years ago, and then we haven't done anything in a long time film festival wise. So yeah, we're trying to kind of build it, and it's a different world now. There's a different promotion strategies. There's social media, which didn't really play into it in 2001 through 2004. So some of the standby stuff like paper flyering, we're doing that to promote, and but we're doing new things like podcasts. Didn't really exist at that time,
right?
And we're so we weren't doing podcasts at that time. We did maybe like something on the independent college radio station, but there's a lot of new cool ways of promoting. We've got a Shock-A-Go-Go Instagram, we've got a Shock-A-Go-Go Twitter, we've got a Shock-A-Go-Go TikTok, and we're making a lot of content to promote, which has been really interesting. So that's different. That's different than when we were doing it in the past.
Excellent. And will you mentioned that there was a print, Jackie Kong had a print of Blood Diner. Is that a 35 millimeter print, I assume?
No, that's a DCP. In this case, they don't have 35 at the Art Theater in Long Beach, so everything's being presented on DCP. I'd like for them to get, a lot of people got rid of their 35, which I think was a mistake.
Yeah.
And then now people are putting them back in because people want to go and see stuff on 35. Vista Theater is putting in a 35, and that got bought by Quentin Tarantino, and they're revitalizing it as a 35 millimeter house. A lot of older formats are getting re-recognized. I went to a place that just shows movies on VHS the other day. They have a little screening room, and they show stuff on VHS. They rent VHS. They sell VHS. Only VHS. And
that's
so,
awesome.
It's an interesting time in the, people are exploring sort of formats that we thought would probably be dead. But yeah, right now they don't have the ability to do 35 millimeter projection. Otherwise, I would have probably shown a print.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to show this one's DCP projection. And we've got DCPs of Greasy Strangler, Slumber Party Massacre, and Blood Diner that we're going to show.
Nice. That's awesome.
The reason I chose Slumber Party was because I had so much fun filming Bring Stevens and Deborah DeLiso last summer when we were shooting a lot of interviews for Exploit This. And I thought, they're like friends, I'll approach them and see if they want to do that. And they were both really receptive and excited to do it, and happy to do Q&A, happy to do signing. So that was kind of that. And then I was a member of a Facebook group for the Greasy Strangler. It's a big Facebook group. This movie has a lot of fans.
Huh.
I posted to the group and I said, I would really like to show this movie. Who would I contact? And right away, this guy, Elabar, responded and he said, talk to me. And he had done this in a few different places in the country, midnight screenings and stuff of the movie. So he said, I'll contact everybody on the cast. And it just sort of came together organically like that.
That's great. That's great. You'll have to hook me up. I'd love to have Sky and his crew on this show too.
He'd love that. Yeah. I'll put you two in touch.
Awesome. So, can you tell our listeners, once again, the date of this event and where they can get the tickets and all your, online information?
Yeah. Oh, it's super easy. You can go to shockagogo.com to get the tickets. Just no hyphens or anything, just lowercase shock, AGOGO.com. And there's a few different places where we're selling the tickets that you can link to right there. There's brown paper tickets. There's Eventbrite. You can actually buy the tickets on Film Freeway too. So if you go to the Film Freeway and you want to submit a film for this festival or the next one that we do, you can go to filmfreeway.com, type in Shock a Go-Go Film Festival, search for that, find our thing on Film Freeway, and you can buy tickets there too. So we're selling tickets through multiple places.
Excellent.
Yeah, and if you're in Hollywood, there's a place on Melrose called Headliner Records where we're selling tickets, physical tickets. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to go about getting tickets, but I would say the easiest way is just to go to shockagogo.com, click on the brown paper tickets, get your ticket, or click on the Eventbrite and get your ticket that way. That's probably the easiest way.
That's great. And we'll have all that information in the show notes when we post it and you go to the web link. So you'll be able to find all of Eric's web links to find
the festival is the April 22nd, and it's at the Art Theater in Long Beach, which is in a really cool area with a lot of vintage and thrift stores, restaurants. It's like a really hip, cool part of Long Beach. Long Beach isn't that far. I mean, if you're in Los Angeles, probably 45 minutes.
That's not bad.
45 minutes to get anywhere in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could have had it in Glendale. We could have had it, and then there'd be people in Rancho Cucamonga that have to drive 45 minutes. So, the art theater is really cool. It was set up in the 20s. At one time, it was a burlesque house. It's a really, really, really cool venue. And there's about 400 seats, and we would love to pack those 400 seats with people.
Excellent. Did you hear that, listeners? We got to pack up this theater. So get your tickets if you're in the area, or if you're going to fly out. That'd be even great. So I'm looking forward to it. I wish I could go this year. I can't go, but I will try to get to a future one.
I'd love to have you at a future one.
That'd be awesome. And speaking of which, future ones, I had an idea while we were talking. I wanted to bring up maybe if they're available. I don't even know if they're available, but for shorts, I was thinking I would someday love to see the original short for Street Trash that they used to, raise funding to make that into a feature, as well as Evil Dead. Do you think those would be available at all?
I wouldn't be surprised if those are either available on a Blu-ray or going to be available on a Blu-ray as like an extra feature kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised because usually they want to pack those Blu-rays with extra feature type of stuff. Unless there's some sort of rights issue or materials issue,
right.
That's a possibility. But if there's not, it'd be a good, question to get on Twitter and tweet for Sam Raimi to answer. Or what was the other film that you mentioned?
Street Trash started off as a short.
Oh yeah, well, Roy Frumke's is really approachable. We showed Street Trash when we did the festival. And I think it was in 2002. It was either 2002 or 2003, and we showed it from a 35 millimeter print. It was Roy Frumke's print.
Oh wow!
Super nice guy, easy to work with. He also did a really cool documentary about Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
It's called Diary of the Dead. I don't know. I'd have to look up the title, but it was filmed at the time they were making Dawn of the Dead.
I think it was Document of the Dead.
Document of the Dead. That's
yeah.
It. Diary of the Dead is a later sequel.
Yes, yeah. Excellent. Well, Eric, thank you so much for joining us today, and glad to have you back. And like I said before, you've got an open invitation to come on whenever you want. We can talk about films. I think, didn't we actually talk about an exploitation film in the past?
I think we did. What did we talk about? Which film?
I can't remember now. I don't have my list in front of me.
We talked about Graydon Clark's movies or something.
That's right. Yeah, we did do that.
Yeah, Graydon Clark's. I watched all his movies because we had him as a guest, or not a guest. I'm sorry, as a interviewee for Exploit This. He would be a cool person to have as a guest. I think I want to say that he's either in Phoenix or Vegas.
Yeah, I did reach out to him. I had to buy his book before he would come on the show, so I have that on my stack. I've got to read it first, and then I'm going to try and get him on the show.
Oh yeah, you should get him on the show. He's super articulate. Yeah, he's a really great interview.
Awesome.
We interviewed him. It was totally during COVID, and we were doing a lot of remote interviews. And his wife shot the interview.
Oh wow!
And turned out great. And we were able to Zoom. I think we did maybe 6 or 7 interviews like that, where we did it remotely. We did William Greffe's interview like that. Rhonda Shear who used to host USA Up All Night. We did her interview like that because we couldn't really do interviews. And then we started doing interviews outdoors. And then we did the Mary Warnock interview like that, the Frank Stevens, the Deborah DeLisa, David Gregory from Severin, a whole bunch of interviews. And we just did them outside. Andy, the guy that worked on Blood Feast, that was basically was the camera guy on Blood Feast. And he was he was 17 when he was the camera guy on Blood Feast.
Wow.
Really, really cool.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Eric. Don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you back again. Like we said, maybe when your schedule comes down a little bit after the film festival, we can have you back to talk about more films.
That would be great. I'd love that.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, folks, thanks for joining us today for our interview with Eric Eichelberger about the Shock A Go-Go Film Festival, as well as an update on his documentary, Exploit This. The links will be in the show notes on the website, and if you're near Long Beach, California, you've got to check this film festival out. You can send your feedback to thenisnow42@gmail.com. You can also join in the conversation at our Facebook Then Is Now podcast group. Then Is Now podcast is a proud member of the Dorkening Podcast Network, so please be sure to check out the other great shows there at thedorkeningpodcastnetwork.com. You can also visit our website at havenpodcasts.com, where you'll find our sister show, The East Meets the West, in which we discuss Shaw Brothers films and spaghetti western movies. And while you're there, click on the Patreon and TeePublic links to get some exclusive stuff. And Then Is Now is on YouTube, so please visit youtube.com/user/UncleDeath1 to get the latest videos as well as other fun videos. Please subscribe to our YouTube page and also share the video versions of our podcast with your friends and get them to subscribe as well. And don't forget to go wherever you download your podcast from, and please leave us a great review. 5-star reviews on places like iTunes really will bump us up the list of shows that they recommend. So please get that out there so we can get more listeners. And you can find us on all the podcasting apps, especially the big 3, iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. Class dismissed.
Then Is Now podcast is intended for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is copyright Jupiter Media.
For more shows like the one you just heard, check out the Dorkening Podcast Network at thedorkening.com.